Hey everyone, so it is your girl Shay, and I am back with another episode. Before I get into it, first, okay, because y'all connected with me, I just need a moment because I was not expecting my video of how I dated a high value man but had a very interesting experience to go so big, y'all. Like the men was like, oh, he dropped the ball. The women was like, sis, and I appreciate it. Like, I'm one of those people, when I do a video, I love for the connection, right? Like, some of y'all follows me on Instagram. I'm like, okay, spirit, so we connecting here. This is where we are. Listen, sometimes you got to put things out there, see who catches it, and then go with it. So I have been led to heal from my dating experiences. And I said to Spirit, you know what? The time is coming. I'm getting older and I would love to be in a nice relationship. I would love to heal from certain things. And I was like, why not do it here? Like, therapy is expensive. It's expensive. And I'm the type of person, from my experiences, I learn better when I just speak about it, and then I get to hear about it like as I play it back. So sometimes I'll watch my old videos or I'll listen to my old podcasts, and what I will do is I'll just let it heal me, because a lot of times the answer is in the problem, right? So I am very grateful for everybody who resonated with my experience. Trust and believe, I ain't lying. It was really what it was. I didn't over exaggerate. I kept it very, very to point. And for y'all to love on me and receive it and laugh and make it feel like, you know what, sis, I get it. It was a beautiful experience. So I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited that you're here with me, and I hope that you are ready to giggle a little bit on this episode, because listen, your girl went on a date with a homeless man. And I'm being mindful because I can't call him a bum, and I'm gonna explain. I'm about to get into it. But he was homeless. Yep. Walked by him on the street. So get your tea or your wine and let's sit and talk about this experience. Okay. So, welcome. I am your girl Shay. I hope that you are feeling amazing. I hope that you're feeling good. I was gonna have some wine, but I'm healing, okay? And sometimes the wine be doing a lot, and I'm a tea person. So y'all take a sip for me while I sip my tea and just enjoy this story with you. As I said in the opening, I appreciate all of y'all for resonating with me and my experience with a high value man. And I have come to the conclusion, like I said, okay, I want to build more authentic relationships with men and women. And what I mean is more authentic relationships where we can go somewhere. Like, I'm 32, I ain't got no kids, I'm not married, and I'm realizing I want community. I want to vibe with women who understand where I'm coming from. I want to talk to men who understand where I'm coming from, and we can just kind of just maneuver through life together. I really believe that there's a time to be isolated, but you could get more done and you could go further, in my experience, when you have a team. Funny though, I am a Life Path 22, okay? And being a Life Path 22, that means that I do things in partnerships, and that could be a positive, which means I know how to deal with large groups of people, and I know how to lead. I am a Leo, okay? Ask about it, Google. But the downside is sometimes I could fall into codependency or waiting for someone to say, hey, I'm going to take you here. So what I'm doing with YouTube now is being more authentic with myself, explaining how life be lifing sometimes, and everybody on Instagram make it seem like it's so lavish. I went out with a homeless person. He was homeless, y'all. Like, in the city, I seen him. I'm going too fast. You're right. Because I got to tell you the story. But I just wanted to let you know that what you're going to hear more from me is more authentic energy, the dating world, being a Black woman, my experiences. And I hope that any male, female, if you identify as a cat, that you can identify with my experiences. And we can do this journey together. So if you are ready, okay, let's talk about how your girl, this beautiful energy, okay, went on a date but a homeless man. The reason why I'm not gonna call him a bum is because of two things. One, he was very generous. I feel like a bum is a person who is not generous, and their lack of generosity is like a spiritual thing. Like they're very like stingy, and it's like, no, mine, and you ain't even got nothing. So he wasn't a bum for that reason. And the other reason was he actually did give in the sense of energy wise. Like he gave something. Oh yeah, let me give you this. He gave what the high value man didn't. Attention. Oh, you can be homeless and still have provision. Okay, you could be homeless and still know how to treat a woman. Okay, because stop. Hold on. It was 2015. So this was some years ago. Why am I telling you this story now? Because I'm just seeing patterns in my dating life that is hilarious as hell. And I'm like, I can't be the only one. Now I might be, but these, like I said, is cheaper than therapy. So just bear with me. I was walking the streets of Manhattan, and this is obviously way before COVID. So the energy was different. Like everybody was outside. I was on 42nd Street, and I have always enjoyed being a loner. Even though I said I'm a life path 22 and I enjoy being with people limited time, I'm more of a loner. I like to do things on my own. So I went to the city one night, and I don't know why I went. I have no clue, but I went out and I was just feeling cute. I was minding my business, having a good time. And let me tell you, I'm the type of person, she is very blessed. And what I mean by blessed, I have an abundance of the ancestors around me. So I never feel alone, and I know that I'm always protected, okay? So there's certain things that people like me can do that other people cannot do. Let's just put that. If you get it, you got it. Understood it? It's understood. So I went in the city, I was minding my business, and if you know about New York, you know about 42nd Street. There was this Mac store. I don't know if it's still there, but there was this Mac store, and something was just like, go in. And I was never a girl of makeup. I'm still not a girl who wears makeup, but something was just like, do it, live a little. So I went out and I went to the Mac store. I was like, I saw this person doing makeup, and obviously she worked there, and her name, do I want to say her name? I don't know. But anyway, she kind of took me under her wing within that moment. She was like, oh my goodness, your bone structure is so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Like, she was hyping me up, okay? And I was like, you better praise me. Give me some love, okay? Heal this trauma, okay? And she just wanted to do my makeup. She was like, I want to give you a beat face. And I was like, I don't have anywhere to go. She was like, honey, it doesn't matter. Like, just enjoy yourself. I said, why not? So what ended up happening was she was doing makeup. She said, just wait a second. So I had to sit near the door. As I was waiting, I'm like, okay, just chilling, looking at people go back and forth. And I seen this guy, tall, dark, and handsome guy. He was slim, neat body, and he was handsome. Nice goatee. I'm a sucker for a goatee. Narrow face. And I was just like, okay. And he kept looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I was just like, okay. I didn't think anything of it, y'all. Like, I wasn't trying to meet anybody. And he was like, hi. And I was just like, hi. And I kept sitting, but the woman saw the connection. She was like, ooh. Immediately, she was like, sis, he is cute. And I was just like, oh, I was like, you think he's cute? And she's like, yeah, I think he's cute. So she was like, let me do your makeup. And, she was like, he's cute, but he's still a guy. You're still a girl. You're by yourself. And she was like, let me do your makeup. And, if he walks by, then he walks by. Y'all, when I tell you she beat my face, I still had a bruise. Sometimes I think about it. Okay, she beat it. It was beautiful, okay? So he saw me before the makeup, and then he stayed around, and he saw me after the makeup. And it's nighttime, just so you know, it is nighttime. And she gave me a dark beat face. So I had like this beautiful lip. If I could find a photo, I will put it up there. And she was like, girl, you look good. She was like, you need to go somewhere. And I was like, I do? And she's like, yeah, you need to go somewhere. I guess he picked up on the frequency, because when I turned back around, he saw me. He was like, wow. He was like, you look really good. And I was like, you better stop, Mr. Man. You better stop. And he was like, you look so good. You do need to go out. So I was like, oh, he must have heard what she said. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go home. And he's like, no, like, you should let me take you out. Okay. He's like, you should let me take you out. And I'm like, you don't even know me. I was being all modest. I was like, you don't even know me. And he was like, no, you look good. Like, let me take you to a movie. So she's hearing this and she's like, sis, I have adopted you. Literally, I have adopted you as my little sister. So I'm going to take your number. If you go out with him, you text me, you call me. I live around here. We going to make sure you're okay. To this day, I will give her nothing but love, because she was so protective of me. Like, I was a young little doodle bopper, and she was like, listen, I beat her face. I know what it looks like. Okay. I took a photo. If you take my sis out, just know she got eyes on her. And I was like, yes, protect, heal, and provide for you, girl. So she was like, do you have any mace or anything? And I was like, no, I didn't have anything. But she was just like, all right, well, stay local. You know, you got my number. You call me if you need me. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go out with this man. She's like, well, he seems innocent. You know, like I said, if you know how to get home, whatever. And I hugged her. And when I hugged her, I was like, this is a manly hug. Like, it was firm. Come to find out, she was a transsexual. And that was when I realized, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, at that point, it wasn't as big as it is now, where everybody was like, I identify and whatever. Her love for me and her care and everything, I would never identify as a man. I couldn't. Like, and she told me, she's like, I am a man. She's like, but I am in transition. And I didn't even understand. I didn't even catch it because it was so motherly. And I never in my life knew that a man could be so motherly. She had titties. And I was just like, what? That's a whole nother story. But in that moment, I was just like, wow, like, you're a beautiful soul. Like, I looked at this person as a woman and a motherly figure. And she saw me as her big sister, her little sister. I saw her as my big sister, and that's what it was. So moving forward, we end up going out. I forgot his name. Let's just call him Homeless Harold. Let's call him Homeless Harold. Homeless Harold was like, we're going to go to the movies. Now, there was no indication that he was homeless. Not yet. We end up going to the movie. We ended up seeing, I think it was, I don't know if it was Chappie or some movie, because I remember I got really emotional. I don't know. So it was one of those movies. And we ended up watching it, and we had a really good time. Now, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a part. I am skipping a part. We went to the movies. This was when I realized something was off. Yeah. If y'all know, the movies back then was probably like 13. I don't know how much the movies was. And he was very persistent to take me out on the movie. And I was like, okay. Tickets came to, I forgot, but it came to obviously $20-something around there. And the one was like, well, how do you want to pay? Card or cash? And he's like, I'm going to pay cash. And I didn't think anything of it, y'all. But when this man pulled out change, yeah, $24 worth. That's when I remember. I would never forget that. $20-something worth of change. I'm talking about coins and then dollar bills, singles, ripped up, like crinkled. And I'm like, this ain't real. Even the woman was looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at him, and he's still counting 25, 50, 70. I'm like, this ain't real. It can't be. Yeah, he ended up paying, and I ain't say nothing because I was like, I'm by myself. I ain't got no mace. I don't know. Maybe he left his card home. Remember, I was younger then. And I was just like, okay. We ended up, he had enough, you know, to get there. And he actually had enough to get popcorn. And he was so attentive. He was asking me about myself. He was talking to me about himself. We were really connecting. And I felt comfortable. I'm not going to say I felt 100% safe because I didn't know him, but I felt comfortable enough to enjoy him. So the movie is done. He's like, wow, like, I really enjoyed you. And I'm like, I really enjoyed you too. And we're laughing, like, we look good together. He was very handsome, and okay, we looked good. But I kept thinking, like, how did he, where's the, at least give me a bill, like a $5 bill. Like, why do you have coins? And I left it. So I as we were walking, he was like, so what are you about to do? And I said, well, it's late. I think I'm going to go home. He's like, well, I would love to enjoy you on your way home. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna take the train. He was like, well, this was part 2. He's like, well, can I walk with you? And I'm like, walk with me? And he's like, yeah, can I walk with you? And I'm like, you mean to the ferry? He's like, yeah, can I walk? I'm like, well, I was gonna take the train. Looking at hindsight, my ass should have took the train, but I didn't. Y'all better not judge me in them comments. Why didn't you? Hush your mouth. I just said I was young. I pray for me. I told you this is my therapy, so don't judge me. We ended up walking from 42nd Street to the ferry, and that was another moment when I realized he didn't have it because he spent his bus fare on the movie and on some popcorn. So he was done for the day. I don't know what else he had to do, but he was done. We ended up walking. He tells me he has a son. He had a flip phone, and I was like, what the? A flip phone? Like, it was just very strange. Everything was very strange. But when I tell you he was attentive and a gentleman, he was like, I'm gonna protect you. He was like, he's like, listen, if at any point you feel uncomfortable walking with me, you could get on the ferry. I mean, you could get on the train. I'll leave you be. But I'm really enjoying this moment with you. It's not a lot. It's not all the time that I go out. And I'm gonna be honest, at that time I was in a different headspace. Energetically, I felt like I didn't value myself enough, and I think the universe knew it. Well, I know the universe knew it. So I was attracting a certain type of frequency. I was attracting a frequency that was reminding me, no, you are valuable. You just picking the wrong people. But I was also attracting energies that kept poking at me, that was making me think, yeah, I deserve to be beaten down. That's a whole nother episode of I got some stories. Get back on it. So he was very attentive, very kind, and I enjoyed his energy, and I knew where I was going. So I was taking the same route during that time. So I knew, okay, if we make any sudden turns, we're gonna stay on Broadway, we're gonna go all the way down. There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of people outside. I feel safe. So when we got to the ferry, he was like, can I get your number? And honestly, I was like, sure, because it was so sweet, so kind. He was so attentive. He shared with me, you guys. Like, that's why he would never be a bum to me. Homeless, yes. A bum, never. And he shared his resources. And then he told me he had a son and everything. So I was like, well, where's your son? He's like, oh, my son is back home. I was like, okay. And I'm like, well, where's home? He's like, yeah, I live in Brooklyn. He was very basic with his responses, and I didn't see anything wrong with it, because if he asked me where I lived, I would have said basic stuff too. Later on, we ended up exchanging contacts, and then I text him, I'm home, and he's like, good, we'll talk tomorrow. Everything was fine. But I had those things in my mind. Maybe a couple of days later, he's like, I would love to take you out again. And I'm like, listen, boo, I can't see you with dollar bills. I don't know how I feel about that. That was kind of weird, but I enjoyed his energy. So I was like, okay, we could just go to the park, somewhere where it was just really low key. I was okay with simple things. But when I called him, I'm wrong. He called me to plan that situation about, like, he was confirming, okay, yeah, we could do something simple. I heard a lot of people in the background, and I'm like, hey, sir, there's a lot of noise back there. Is that normal where you live? Like, you have your son, does he have friends? And he's like, nah. And this is where I think he realized he slipped up. He was like, nah, clock out. He said, clock out is around a certain time. And I'm like, clock out? Like, what? He's like, yeah, we gotta turn the lights out at a certain time. And that's when he paused and I paused. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I gotta go. He clicked. And I was like, oh, damn. He running from the po-po. Something's wrong. Harold, damn it, Harold. I was very confused. So I called back, went to voicemail. I was like, he different. He different. So I called my big sis and I'm telling her what happened. She was like, oh, maybe something's wrong. I don't know. She was like, you know what? Don't call. Let him call you. Keep it cute. She was like, did you feel safe? And I'm giving her the breakdown. She's like, okay. Then me and her connected, but that's another story for another time. So he calls me maybe 2 days later and he's like, I am so sorry. There was a lot of running around going on. And I got kind of sidetracked with other things. And I was like, okay. I was like, so are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm just going through a lot right now. He's like, me and my son, whatever. And that moment, I was like, okay, Shay, I'm over it. Like, I didn't want to feel like I had to baby someone. I felt like he was speaking in code, and I wasn't trying to take anything on. And then he kind of snapped at me because I had said, you know, well, you had said something about it was clock out, like they had to turn the lights out. Is everything okay? He's like, listen. I was like, okay, Harold. He's like, listen, I said that I live in Brooklyn. He's like, why you grilling me? What's going on with you? Like, we had a good time. Didn't I pay for the movies? I was like, yeah, but your bus fare. He was like, didn't I pay for the movies? Didn't you have a good time? He was like, listen, I took you out to see the city. You was looking so good. He's like, and now you want to grill me? He's like, I don't need this. I don't need this. Click. And I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, you getting too comfortable, Harold, clicking on me, you know? But I already tapped out, so I was just over it. He ends up texting me, and he's like, listen, I apologize. I was like, okay, you bipolar, and you don't have $5 bills. Something's wrong. He's like, I apologize for how I treated you. It's just a really rough day, me and my son and all this and whatever. Nonsense that I didn't care about. So I was like, listen, it was beautiful meeting you. I appreciate the experience. I will never forget this, but this is not gonna work. And I said, I wish you nothing but the best. He did not like that. Homie kept calling and calling, and I had to block him. I was like, you're doing too much. Let's say a month later, it was a month later, I'm walking, minding my business. And I happen to just look to the right of me, and I see a man. I see a man with a sign on a crate. I forgot what the sign said, but any man with a sign on a crate, you already know what it is. And I look, and I'm like, why does this man look so familiar? And I'm like, I know that ain't Harold. I'm like, Harold, is that you? And I didn't say anything because I needed to make sure that my eyes was not deceiving me. Yeah, I looked and I stopped. I had to stare, and I was like, this man is home. He had on the old, you know, the homeless look with the ring, the hat, the gloves, and it was cold during that time. And I'm just like, this man was homeless. I was like, I went out with a homeless man, and I refused to acknowledge him because I didn't want to wake up anything. I didn't want him to feel bad. One thing about me, I'm very courteous and I'm very considerate of how people may feel, and I didn't want to embarrass him, but I know, homie, you was homeless. And I thought about that, and I called my brother immediately, and I was like, I went out with a homeless man. My brother, of course, he laughed. We had to laugh about it because he was like, only that would happen to you. But what I thought about in that moment, y'all, was this man, I don't know how many times he had to beg for dollars and dollars and dollars. I didn't know how long he stayed out that day before he met me that night to make what he made. And he made a decision to take me out. I don't know how long it took him to make that $25, whatever, how much it was, to pay for the movie for both of us and get popcorn. I did not know. I would have never knew that he was homeless unless I had seen him that day. And this is what I learned, y'all. Let me tell you, because it's funny, but it is such a valuable lesson. A man is going to do for you when he wants to do for you. No excuses needed, none required. This man had no home. Okay, when I put two and two together, I was like, homie was in a shelter during that time. Okay, he was probably stressed out, but he wanted to show me a good time in the city. He wanted to enjoy my presence. He wanted me to feel appreciated and seen. I just got my makeup done, and he was like, I'm gonna spend my last hard work on her. Do you understand? He set the tone. He did. He set a tone during that time in my life because I was like, ain't no way. Nobody can tell me they can't. They don't have it. This man paid with 5 cents, 10 cents, okay, to get where we needed to get. He said, I can't get on the ferry. I can't get on the train with you, but I'm going to walk with you to make you feel safe. Honey, high value man there, check. Homeless, yes, but was he high value? I would say maybe. Okay, because he let it be known, I may not have it, okay? I may not have it, but what I do have, I will be generous with you, okay? Ladies, don't let nobody tell you, oh, I didn't have the funds. You have a quarter? You have a dollar bill? So you can make it work. I would never do it again, no, ever. But was it an experience? Yes, because you know what's coming up next. You know what's coming up next. The time I went on it, it wasn't a date. We was actually dealing with each other with a Marine. And he tried to kill me with a pillow. Okay, just keep that because that's going to be the next topic because I'm healing. And I need you to go through this with me. We're going to laugh about it. If you enjoyed this video and this episode, do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Because listen, okay, homeless or not, okay, the way a person is the way a person is. Now watch, when he gets on his feet, whoever he gets, she's going to be okay. Okay? If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.